Hi, hello, we're back in my living room. I thought about prepping the other room for filming and it just seemed exhausting. So you know what? We're here in the living room. Look, I put on makeup. What more do you want from me? Maybe a framed shot, I don't know. We're just gonna film a couple videos today because I've been super busy and haven't really had a lot of time for filming, but I knew I had to get this one out here eventually. Because this one we are doing today is my 2,000 subscriber Q&A video. That's right, I finally hit 2,000 subscribers. Yay! It only took me about 7 years on YouTube. So you could say that I'm just a real rising star. Actually, I'm pretty sure what happened is that the YouTube algorithm started pushing a lot of people's, not just my, Jenna Moreci videos, like our reactions to her and our reviews of her books, and that is what actually kind of pushed me over the top of subscribers. So hey, hi, hello, if you're new because of my Jenna videos, I hope you stick around. I hope you like what you see. I don't just talk about her. In fact, if you want to watch this Q&A video, you might find out a little bit more about me. I'm going to try to be as brief with my answers as possible so I can get through all of these. Some of these I might already have done videos on, so I'll try to remember to link you, but I will also try to give answers to everything, so it's not just like, oh, she's not answering and she just wants me to go watch a different video. Okay, so we're just gonna dive right in to the questions that people left for me on my YouTube channel. The first question is, who is your favorite character in The Wolf and the Hawk? If you're wondering, The Wolf and the Hawk is my fantasy romance that you can purchase right now on Amazon in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. So go check it out. I'm not sure who my favorite character was. Honestly, it's gonna sound corny, but I really like Xander because he can be a little bit broody and he can be a little bit dense, and I kind of have a soft spot for that kind of guy. But also, her horse, Storm. The next question is, do you base a lot of your characters on real life people, even partially? Not a lot, like definitely elements of myself and other people in my life get into my characters, but there is no character that is a one-to-one, yes, I definitely stole this person from real life, except for, like, occasionally if it's a celebrity. But even then, it's more like I have an actor that I would choose to play that role versus having, like, that person in my book, such as Alan Tudyk he plays a character in Dragonfly, which is the sequel to The Wolf and the Hawk, which is not coming out anytime soon anymore. There's an update video about that, but there's a character that is meant to be played by Alan Tudyk, and Michael Sheen is 100% meant to play Valentine in the Adventure of Mage books. Unfortunately, he's a younger version of Michael Sheen, unless he can figure out how to age backwards. Probably not actually going to work for him to play the role, but other than that, I don't base personalities of my characters on anybody specifically. I'm doing a really great job giving you brief answers to these questions, aren't I? Hi, Joe. And then, favorite Mass Effect or Dragon Age character? I actually have videos where I talk about my favorite and least favorite BioWare characters. However, they are older, and honestly, I don't even know that I agree with them anymore. So if you want to go back and look at what that time period Julian thought of the characters, specifically the companions, then you can go check that out, but I wouldn't vouch for it as being how I feel about them today. One of my favorites is Mordin Solus.
Had to be me. Others might have gotten it wrong.
From Mass Effect 2 and 3. I love him. I love his character writing. I just think it's just like, mwah, chef's kiss. He's such an interesting character, and I would love to dig into it even more. And lastly, this person asked, favorite type of horse with an explanation for a horseless commoner like myself. Okay, I have a couple of breeds that are my favorites. I love Appaloosas. They are hardy, they are intelligent, they are here to be like your companion, but they're also like not gonna be like a deadhead. They're very smart. So like if you want a smart horse, definitely an Appaloosa. I also love Mia Frisian just because they're so pretty. Oh my goodness. I love Morgans, little Morgan horses. Morgan horses are great. They are so sturdy and hardy and intelligent. Again, I love smart horses. So I have several horse breeds that I love, but I think those are like my top, toward the top of my list. All right, next. Who is your favorite character to write? Whichever character I'm writing at the moment. Although I still have a very soft spot in my heart for Astlir Adar, who was the main character in my Dragon Age fanfiction, The New Ways of Old Gods. She still holds a very special place in my heart. I know characters are your thing, but which was the hardest for you to figure out? That's a tough one to answer. I don't know who was really the hardest for me to figure out. A recent example, I've been writing little sections from the villain's point of view to add into the Adventurer Mage book when I go to, like, lean towards publishing it more. And it's hard to do because they are not pleasant, and because I really like to, like, dig into my characters and feel their feelings and everything, it's weird to have to put myself in a place of rich people who don't care about other people, because, can't relate. Next is, what's your favorite read-along you've done and why? I think my favorite right now, and it'll probably change, is The Savior's Sister, and that's just because we already had, like, so many jokes to fall back on from the original The Savior's Champion, and Jenna Moressi's writing is not so bad that I get bogged down struggling trying to understand her prose, so I can focus more on, like, the story elements. They're my favorite ones at present. How do you keep everything straight when you're writing multiple genres at once? I don't write multiple genres at once. I write one book at a time. I may edit while I'm drafting a new book. So my recommendation to you, if you're struggling with it, is pick one, finish that, and then move to the next thing. This person asks, do you ever read any non-fanfic short stories? If so, do you have any favorites? I don't read a lot of short stories. For some reason, a short story feels like more of a commitment than a novel sometimes, and I don't know why. And I write short stories, so, like, I understand the frustration of trying to get people to read your short stories, but I don't read a lot of short stories, unfortunately. I will link you, though, to a short story that a fellow Authortuber wrote, link in the doobly-doo, that I quite enjoyed, and you can listen to it, which is what I did here on YouTube, so please check it out. I really enjoyed that one. This person says, I have a lot of questions for you, but I hope you'll find at least one interesting. Oh, I'm answering every single one. Their first question is, what often inspires you, / where do you find most of the ideas for your stories? All over the fucking place. Adventurer Mage was inspired by the beginning of a terrible movie that I was like, what if I could do that better? And also, what if somebody else was in the room that we don't see? And that's it. So it can be really random. I know most people are like, a dream inspired my book, but that doesn't really happen to me. I tend to dream about the stuff that I'm already writing versus dream about something that I could turn into a book. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received? Right now, I feel like it's just the general, fuck what everybody else wants, write what you like. Because that has been my whole mode for at least half of last year, and my plan for this year. I'm gonna just stop worrying about what's marketable and what's gonna sell and just write what I want, and if people also like it, which I hope they do. I hope there are other people with the same taste as me out there. But, like, fuck trying to please other people, I'm writing for myself at this point in the apocalypse. My husband has given me that advice before, so I'm gonna go with that. If you had to pick a book as your all-time favorite, what would you pick? I'm assuming a book that I have read, or is this a book that I've written? I don't know. Of course, picking an all-time favorite book that I have read would be impossible, but I am just going to take a moment to recommend you all the Becca Cooper series again, because I feel like you guys aren't reading it, and I keep recommending it. But if you like my style, you'll probably like Tamara Pierce's style. If you like Tamara Pierce's style, you'll probably like mine. This person would like to know, since someone already asked me my favorite Dragon Age or Mass Effect character, who is my least favorite. And I think that award still goes to Miranda from Mass Effect. I hate her. I get her killed. And it's difficult. It's hard to get Miranda killed. She's supposed to live, but you can do it. And I do it. And have you ever played SWTOR? I think that's like the online Knights of the Old Republic game? Yes? I'm not actually sure, but I don't think I've played it. If it's the online Knights of the Old Republic game, I have not played it. Also, thank you for your questions, friend. You say you mostly lurk my content, but feel free to come out of the shadows every now and then. I love to hear from people. Next, we're just going. We're gonna be here all day. If this takes all day, it takes all day. This next person asks, what is your favorite rock or gemstone? That's probably just gonna have to be my birthstone, which is amethyst. Have your tastes in genre and tropes changed in the time you've been on YouTube? Yeah, I'm sure they have. When I started YouTube, I didn't even read thrillers at all. If so, do you think it was because of the channel or the natural progression of reading and writing? I think it was the natural progression of reading and writing. I don't think the channel had a lot to do with it. And without the channel, I think they probably still would have gone in those directions. This next person asks, how does your writing process happen? I believe I have at least one video about this, which I will link you, but the short version is I get an idea that sticks. Like, I get a million ideas, and I write some of them down in a word program, but every now and then one of them will stick and won't let go, and then I know that's going to be my next project, and then I usually know some of the very basics of it, like beginning, some things I want to happen somewhere, maybe in the middle, and of course the characters. The characters are the things that step out of the shadows and demand that I write them a story, and so then I pants my way through it, and then I edit it, and then I give it to my alpha readers, and then I edit it again, and then I send it to my beta readers, and then I edit it again, and then I send it to my professional editors. And then, hopefully, after that editing round, it's ready to publish. This person does mention that they've been working on the same work for 2 years and it's feel like I've made no progress because it's only 4 chapters. How do you find time to write between work and other activities? How do you make it seem so easy? It's not easy. I hate to tell you this, but like you just have to force it. I write on my lunch break at work. I write whenever I have like that spare moment. I allow myself to not write on the weekends, but I write every single weekday. And I'm not one of those people who believes, yeah, you have to write every day or you're not a real writer. It's more like, I have to write every day if I want the book to get written. So it gets written. So I have made those habits. I have forced my writing into my life. I don't have children. That's handy, but I do have a full-time job and I do have lots of other things that I do. It's cool that I make it look easy, but that's because if I didn't write, I would literally have a mental breakdown. So I have to write, so I find the time for it. I recommend abandoning this idea that you're going to always have this perfect situation where you're going to have perfect quiet, you're going to have perfect setting, you're going to have perfect snacks and lighting and everything, and learn and teach yourself and train yourself to be able to write no matter the conditions, because at work I write in a closet. It's a cleaning closet. I'm surrounded by cleaning supplies. I'm sitting on an uncomfortable folding chair, cramming writing into my life wherever it will fit, and I'm giving up on the idea that it's going to be a perfect situation. I know that was a very long answer, and like I said, I don't know your life, so maybe you just can't fit it in, but it's been 2 years and you're only 4 chapters. I feel like if you want to get serious, you are going to have to just force it sometimes. This person asks, when did you start writing and what was your first full book about? I have a whole video where I go over all of the books that I have written in my lifetime. I will tell you briefly here that I consider my first full book to be when I was 13 years old, and it was the story of a princess whose evil uncle takes over her castle and she manages to escape and she has to try to come back with an army. That's the very basic, bare bones explanation of that story, but if you want more details on all that I have written, there's a video for that. And is there a genre, idea, character that inspires you or has stuck with you? There are a lot of things that you find in my books that are in most of my books. Like, I am not going to pretend that I'm perfectly original every time. There are elements that show up in almost all of my books. But one that has become very important to me over the years is representation for asexuals, because I am one. So that's something you're going to find in pretty much every single one of my books. Okay, this is probably going to be a long answer. How much time would you say a new writer needs to learn the essentials before publishing the first book? And doing at least not bad. I know it's a tricky question because there are many elements to consider, like age, job position, no kids or no kids, health, and so on. As an example, I gave myself 5 years, I'm 28 and I work full time. So this question has a couple of elements and I kind of feel like I did a bad job answering them in real time, so I'm going to try to answer them now as Julian from the editing room. I think 5 years is a reasonable time frame to set up for yourself. You already know, if you've watched my video about it, that I don't think that you should publish your first book. I think that you should probably write more than one and maybe publish the second or third one. Just like, I am a huge proponent of practice. Practice, practice, practice. Just keep writing. If you are meant for this gig, your first book is not going to be your only or even your best idea. It might seem terrifying right now, but it won't be. Trust me on this. And they also mention not being too concerned about the language because like English is their second language and they are like, if I can be understood, it doesn't bother me, which is fair. But I am going to tell you that readers are bothered by poor grammar and that sort of thing. So if you're going to be asking them to pay money for this book, I would definitely hire an editor or two if you are able, or at least get somebody who's very good at that sort of thing to go through your book. So anyway, those are my answers. consider writing more than one book in whatever time frame you've given yourself, and also don't be too rigid about the time frame because everybody's a little bit different. And hire an editor. This next person asks, are you going to write a book with a main character that's only queer, like gay lesbian romance? I would love to see one from you if you ever wanted to write one. Well, thank you. I don't think I will ever write a gay romance as the forefront. I do like to feature, obviously, gay characters in my stories, but I just don't really have an interest in writing a gay romance. And as for a lesbian romance, maybe I am bi-romantic, but I've only been with men, so that might come in the future. But I'm not, I don't see it much on the horizon. And quite frankly, I'm kind of in a no romance phase at the moment, and we'll see how long that lasts. Because after I finish the Adventurer Mage series, which is not romance-based at all, the next book that I'm thinking about is probably also not going to have any romance, or very little. So it's gonna be a while before you probably see romance from me again. I'm not saying never, but I'm kind of out of the romance mood at the moment. The next question is, what is a book you'd like to do a read-along for? I'm not sure. I just kind of wait to see what comes to me when I put up the votes for read-alongs. And what's on the Wolf and the Hawk playlist? I don't really have a playlist for it, but there are a couple of songs. The song Soldier Poet King is Xander's song, and the song Savage Daughter is Ryone's song. I'll let you listen to those just real quick. Here's Soldier Poet King.
There will come a soldier who carries a mighty sword. He will tear your city down, Lord.
And here's Savage Daughter. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair. I will not lower my voice. But I don't really have songs other than that, necessarily. I didn't really start doing playlists until Adventurer Mage came along. I'm gonna kind of paraphrase because they have quite a long explanation, but they're just kind of asking, do I think that it's better to read faster or to read more slowly and more deliberately? I read slowly. If I'm reading on the page, I read quite slowly. If I'm listening to an audiobook, I do consume it more quickly. So I'm in camp, go as slow as you need to retain things and enjoy the story. I don't care about speed reading. This person says, I know I hear about writing main characters that know the things the author doesn't, but never hear the reverse. Where's the main character who has zero knowledge of the topic you know a lot about? So have you ever written a POV character who knows nothing about a subject you are at the very least knowledgeable about? How did you get through it? I'm sure I have. Drawing a blank. Oh, lots of my characters don't like to read. That's something that I have noticed about myself, because it seems like such a cliche that like writers are readers and therefore we also write characters who like to read. Many of my characters are not readers. They find reading to be a drain, a bore, and I lean away from it. So that's something that actually happens quite a bit, is that I write characters who aren't readers even though I am one. But like knowledgeable about things, I tend to write characters who are knowledgeable about horses because I love horses, and any excuse to talk about horses, I'll take it. Although I was thinking about writing a character who does not get along with horses, which would be a challenge for myself. Jumping off of that, how often do you write in knowledge because it's automatic to you and you have to edit it because the character shouldn't know those things? That does happen sometimes, where I'll be like, oh shoot, so-and-so doesn't know that. Next series of questions. What is your most salty opinion on Authortube? I'm trying to just answer with the very first thing that comes to mind. This is gonna come off as really salty, and I'm sorry if I'm hurting anyone's feelings because I still like to watch your videos, but please learn to video edit. Please. There are Authortubers that I like to watch, but they ramble. And I'm like, I'm enjoying this, but I'd be enjoying it more if you cut out some of this repetition, some of this blank space, some of these ums and uhs. That's very salty of me, I know. If I had free time, I would offer myself as a video editor for some other Authortubers. Now that I've pissed everyone off, who's your favorite Authortuber to watch? I don't know if I have a favorite. I like Savvy from Savvy Writes Books. She has a lot of variety, so it's not just bookish stuff. I enjoy Alexa Dunn if I'm gonna maybe watch one of the more polished channels. She's fairly aspirational because she's very honest about the traditional publishing world, and so it's nice to see somebody who's not just like bragging all the time and talking about how awesome their books are, but being like, yeah, my books are kind of like mid-level and this is what to expect, and I appreciate that. What's your favorite bit of advice to give writers? Don't quit if somebody tells you to quit. Just give them the finger and keep going. If you care about something, you should practice and get better. I'm sorry, Mr. Critic Man. Did you roll out of bed good at everything you try? No? Well then shut the fuck up. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice before you started writing, what would it be? Write more. What are you doing? Write more. For a long time, I was very just like, lazy daisy, like drifting along, like I'll write when I'm inspired, la 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 la. And I'm like, I could be much further skill-wise if you had practiced more, younger me. In editing, I realized that the question was, what advice would you give yourself before you started writing? And I don't know what that would be. Stop eating dirt? I was really young when I started writing, so yeah. This is an interesting question. What opinion about life or morality did you hold when you were younger that has changed as you have aged? I've definitely become a lot more chaotic. And oh, here's something. I have definitely decided as I've gotten older that kindness is way cooler than being a badass. Also, I have a lot more sympathy for people who struggle to handle criticism. I do a little bit, but I'm not one of those people who like has a good cry every time they see a negative review. But I do understand people who do. And I don't have patience for people who are like, well, you just need to get a thicker skin. Everybody's life experiences are different. Everybody's emotional states are different. Everybody's mental health is different. And you have no idea what else that person might be going through or dealing with. So you don't get to say, just grow a thicker skin, in my opinion. And that's definitely something that has changed. I used to be a lot less sympathetic towards people who did not have a thick skin. I'm not going to be able to answer this one. What are your top 10 favorite tropes? We'll be here all day. That's a whole video for you. But I think one of my top tropes is the bromance. Give me that friendship that they're practically family, and I will eat it up with a spoon. I do have several videos talking about favorite tropes, mostly within genres, but I think I even have a couple that are like just favorite tropes overall, so go check them out. I have a lot of videos on this channel. If you're new and you like what you see, there's so much to watch. This person asks, which Authortube, the Cyborg Tinkerer or the Savior's Champion book should be made into a movie or TV show? Also, which Authortuber book should get a movie or TV deal? I honestly think that the Savior's Champion would make a better movie or TV show. Like, I think actors could really help give dimension to some of these flatter characters, especially if it was turned into a movie. Some of the fat could be trimmed. And which Authortuber should get a movie or TV deal? Me. This person asked, as a pantser, how do you find getting past the muddy middle? The middle's my favorite part. It's my I love it. I love that part because the characters are all introduced and they're fairly well developed and their relationships are starting to be pretty well established, and we can just get down to really enjoying the story properly. I love the middle. Oh my goodness, we're on the last question. Hey, let's just keep scrolling down. I assumed I was going to be here for the rest of my life. This person basically asked, are emotions easy for you to write? Yes and no. I am not a very emotive person in real life. I don't like to show my emotions to a lot of people in real life, so books are a great way for me to be able to write emotions onto the page that I am not allowing myself to express in real life, and that's really cool. I can't say if I'm great at it though. Readers, how do I do? How do I do with emotions? But those are all of the questions. I don't think I have questions anywhere else. Let me just check my Twitter. Oh, I do have some questions on Twitter. Cool, good thing I checked. What is your favorite book that you have written? Whatever I'm writing right now. My brain does this thing where after I finish a book, after I finish writing it and put it out, I'm done with it and I've moved on from it, which is really handy because I'm not obsessed with like checking reviews or checking stats. I'm ready to just move on. I don't care. But the downside is that I probably should keep track of like some of those stats. Are you ever going to make merch for your stories? I would love to, I just don't think anyone would buy it. Are you ever going to make writing vlogs / editing vlogs for your ongoing books? I love extra content. Probably not, because I write in a closet. I don't know how I can't like bring my camera to work and set it up. I don't know how that would work. So probably no, unless they were highly fictionalized and I pretended that I like sat down in my perfect little writing area every day or something. So nope, I'm sorry, but if you follow me on Twitter, I have been posting most days an out of context line from my writing that day or the day before. So if you just want to get that feel of like you're in there with me and what I'm writing that day, follow me on Twitter. So that's it, y'all. Those are all of my answers from my many questions. Thank you so much for supporting me. Hello to all of you who are new. I hope that you like it here. I hope that you stick around. I just hit 2,000 subscribers, I feel like just in time for me to start to run out of ideas. So if you have any video topics that you would like me to cover, and maybe by some miracle I haven't already covered them, leave them in the comments. And if you want extra content from me, you can check me out over on my Patreon, where all of your donations go towards helping me self-publish my own books. Yay! Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see all of you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
Welcome to Goodburger, home of the Goodburger. Can I take your order?
Yes, I would like to order one. Afra, Melissa, My96, AC, Swamp Goblin Waifu, Ashley, Sophia, Merween, Kit, Hidden Glade, Persephone, Light Julie, Belle, Patrick, Anne Sophie, Callison, Ray, Shelby, Zaire, Jesper, Irene, Scribbling Cat, Savvy, Jenny, Amanda, Lisa, Sarah, and Lennox. You mean I can get them all in the Patrons That Are Awesome meal? I'll take it. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair, I will not lower my voice.